Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my review of Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, which is the third and final book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. The reviews for the first two books, Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm, are already out in my channel. I'll link them down in the description so that you can check them out if you're interested. So without any further ado, let's get into the various parts of the review right away. Starting with the plot of this book, we have to deal with the things that happened in the climax of book 2, which are at really high stakes if you ask me, and Alina has to deal with some of the changes that has happened to her body biologically, as well as some mental changes that she has had because of the climax of book 2. There are some connections that are revealed between two of the main Grisha in this universe, and it is really well explained by Leigh Bardugo in this one. Apart from all these things, we also get to see Alina learning a lot more about her own power and how to control it even better and in a more effective way. There are multiple instances during which she is learning a lot of new things from some of the surrounding Grisha that she has and the relationships that she's strengthening with them a lot more. Apart from all these other things, we also get to learn the backstory of a very powerful Grisha from the ancient times and some of the backstories of Baghra as well as the Darkling. Apart from these three backstories, there are also some common backstories for the entire Grishaverse as a whole, some of the folklores that are spoken about really easily by everyone across all the countries inside the Grishaverse, especially in Ravka. There is this particular story of a bird called the Firebird, which occurs in almost all of the mythical stories that occur within Ravka, and that is one of the key points for this third book. And the power of the Firebird is also revealed really well in this one. There are multiple twists which we don't see coming, and some powers that are being revealed which have been hinted on from book 1 and not so clearly told to us that are revealed in this one that make the plot even more engaging. Moving on to the characters, we have a lot of the characters who happen to come in books 1 and 2 separately come together in this one and fighting as a whole for the greater good if you ask me. And the banter of all these Grisha and all the non-Grisha that are working together in this book make it even more special and wholesome for me if you ask. The ending of this book is a lot bittersweet. It's not like the perfect ending to ever have happened. There are also some mysteries with the romance that we see in books 1 and 2 that are really well wrapped up in this one. The main characters whom we focus on a lot are just as usual, Alina, Mal and the Darkling, but apart from them there are also some other Grisha characters who are not given that much center focus in books 1 and 2, namely Jenya, Zoya, David, Tolya, Tamar and many other characters. We even get to see a lot more interactions with Botkin and some things that happen in Karamzin where Mal and Alina were brought up as orphan children and their memories from Karamzin and the things that they did there, and some things which from their past tie in really well with the things that are happening currently in their lives. All those things are really fleshed out and the characters are made to feel even more real in the final book by the author. Moving on to the world building, I think this is the book in the entire trilogy in which we see the entire scope of the Grishaverse. It gives us certain windows through which we can peek into the other two main series of the Grishaverse also. Actually, the ending of this one, Siege and Storm, sets the pitch for the King of Scars duology because it focuses on Nikolai, who's the Crown Prince of Ravka after the end of this book. There are multiple things that are revealed in this one. All the other books in the Grishaverse, that is the Six of Crows duology and the King of Scars duology, happen after the end of this one, and everything that happens to multiple characters in this one, there are certain characters who live, certain characters who die, and certain characters in between whom I not to like to reveal. All those things are really well managed in this one, and we get to see a lot more geographies of the Grishaverse. Okay, we get to know that there are multiple types of lands inside this Grishaverse while the characters are interacting with each other, but there is a major quest element for the entire plot of the book in which the cast of characters actually travels from region to region, and while they are traveling we get to see a lot more about the various landscapes in which the Grisha powers are used and the different types of people who are living in different geographies of this world. All those things add on to be really good parts of the world building in this one, and it just made the feel and appearance of the world a lot richer and even more real. Finally, talking about the pacing of this book, just like Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm, in this one also the pacing is not fast at all. It starts slow but it builds up in pace, and towards the end everything is really beautifully ended. Okay, it doesn't feel like a book where everything starts slow and things happen so huge that the pace just keeps going at high speed and towards the end it becomes slow again. It is not at all like that. It starts to be slow and it progresses in pace as it advances in the plot, and I should say the pacing that is given to the central part of the book, which actually ends up being the climax of the book, is really well executed by the author. It's not rushed, it's not so slowly laid out that you get bored and you're able to guess everything that's going to happen. Also, it is just provided with the exact amount of pace that it needs to be provided with, so that we don't easily guess what's going to happen, and we also don't get bored of how tired we are to know what is going to happen. The pacing is in such a sweet spot that I do think it is a really good pacing for the end of a trilogy like this one especially. Yeah, and obviously I rated this one also 5 stars, being the last book in the trilogy. And also something which I loved about the ending was that it is bittersweet, just as I said before, and it just made a really good mark in my mind, just as usual. And yeah, that's it for today. If you did find this review enjoyable and useful in some way or the other, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel, because I publish new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.